Coming up on Sbu TV, St. Bonaventure holds a debate between congressional candidates, and there was a scare for off-campus residents. Hello and welcome to Sbu TV. I'm Christy Andrzejewski.
And I'm Kevin Clark. It's often said that nothing good happens after midnight. For one group of St. Bonaventure students, after hours at an off-campus apartment could have led to a tragedy. Sbu TV's Tony Jones has more on a firebombing in Allegany.
On your average weekend evening, students from St. Bonaventure peacefully convene at a number of locations in the Allegany area. That all changed in the early morning hours of October 17th, when West Main Street turned into a virtual war zone. 6 males, 18-year-old Calvin Weis of Olean, 22-year-old Donald Phearsdorf of Allegany, 22-year-old Andrew Piccirillo of Portville, 21-year-old Stephen Sprague of Olean, 22-year-old Adam Peterson of Allegany, and 20-year-old Mark Braithwaite of Olean were arrested and held for arson in the 4th degree and gang assault in the 2nd degree. The Cattaraugus County Sheriff's Office said that a Molotov cocktail, seen here, was tossed into this apartment inhabited by SBU students. While no campus is immune from violence, St. Bonaventure included, Emily Sinsabaugh, Vice President for University Relations, said that this situation was certainly unique to the St. Bonaventure community.
We are very grateful that our students were not injured seriously as a result of the attack, and hopeful that it remains an isolated incident.
An altercation between the two parties allegedly took place earlier in the morning. The attack was confirmed by a notice board message from the university that afternoon. For those students living off campus or planning to move off campus in the future, the university's main priority continues to be keeping its students safe.
They're our students, they're our family, and we'll do whatever we can to be helpful in a situation like this.
For Sbu TV, I'm Tony Jones.
4 of the 6 defendants were due in court for a felony hearing on October 21st. On October 17th, St. Bonaventure hosted 29th Congressional District candidates Tom Reed and Matt Zeller for a debate. Their comments opened some students' eyes about what would be ahead for either man if he were elected. Liz Witter has the story.
Midterm elections are just around the corner, and the Olean community got the chance to hear what 29th Congressional District candidates had to say about changes they want to see in our state.
A lot of people have asked me, why do you want to do this?
You see, our stances on the issues today are vitally important, but what's more important is our character.
Well, the 29th district is my district too for Rochester, so I wanted to just get familiarized with the candidates. I really didn't know anything about either of them.
Republican candidate Tom Reed from Corning and Democrat Matt Zeller from Victor answered questions on issues ranging from healthcare to Social Security.
I like the fact that we extended coverage for children up to the age of 26.
Everyone assumes that with Obamacare's passage that there's no need to talk about it.
Even some questions submitted by students were answered.
The candidates did a really good job with, addressing the audience. The audience did a great job of keeping their composure.
Students say they would have wanted to see the debate get a little more heated.
It wasn't as much of a debate as it was just each of them giving their own views, and the only one that really sort of treated it like a debate was Zeller.
It wasn't that heated, but it was entertaining, I thought.
The debate helps students make a decision on who they'll vote for come November 2nd. They say hearing what the candidates had to say was key in deciding.
I'm a registered Democrat, so of course I was in favor of Matt Zeller.
We were to find a candidate who align themselves with the things you wanted to see happen that aren't happening.
Oskin and Picones say even though it's just a midterm election, voting is important.
Very important for change.
As young people, be able to express ourselves, and voting is one way we could do that.
For Sbu TV, I'm Liz Witter.
The candidates have also held debates at Elmira College, Corning Community College, and Nazareth College.
Early voting got underway Monday in Colorado. In Denver, for example, there are 13 centers now allowing people to cast their votes. CNN's Chris Vanderveen reports that hundreds of the mail-in ballots sent out last week are already coming in.
Every ballot in now represents one less voter on Election Day. By the looks of things, some of those precincts could be pretty slow on November 2nd.
So many people now choose to vote conveniently in their homes by mail.
9 News political analyst Floyd Cerulli says the emergence of mail ballots is, in essence, a game changer for the campaigns.
The campaigns concentrate on getting out those voters that haven't voted, and they call that ballot chasing. And they really chase those voters right to Election Day.
And it certainly looks as if a lot of people in Colorado are going to be using mail-in ballots this year. The Colorado Secretary of State's office estimates that 65% of all people who vote in this year's election will be using mail-in ballots. That's up. 2 years ago, that number was 60%.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars are being spent to chase the ballots.
Why would the Bennett or Buck campaigns, for example, try to lure you if they knew you had already voted, unbeknownst to them, for, say, Max Stringer? The campaigns might not know who you voted for, but they will know if you've already voted, thanks to databases like the one in Denver.
They'll go online about the middle part of this week, and they can take one look at the data and tell who's already returned a ballot and who has early voted.
Updated daily, the list will tell them if you've been naughty or nice when it comes to your civic responsibility. And there is a side effect to all of this. If you want to be left alone, this might be the best way to do it.
If you want to stop the robocalls, hold back the direct mail, get out there and turn in your ballot.
Early balloting means no chance to change one's mind. For early voters, the campaign is over. Because New York doesn't allow early voting, the governor's race is still going full throttle. Carl Palladino is not the only New York governor candidate that's mad. Third-party candidate Jimmy McMillan showed his anger with one particular issue this week, and he definitely got his point across.
It's too damn high.
McMillan stole the spotlight during the recent gubernatorial debate with his black gloves, notable facial hair, and rather unique opening statement that focused on the high cost of rent in New York.
People working 8 hours a day and 40 hours a week is some a third job. Women can't afford to take care of their children, feed their children breakfast, lunch, and dinner. My main job is to provide a roof over your head, food on the table, and money in your pocket.
His response to almost every question was, rent is too damn high.
Once again, why? You said it, the rent is too damn high.
By the morning after the debate, a YouTube video featuring McMillan had more than 1 million hits, and more than 2,000 people had joined a Rent is Too High group on Facebook. Though his campaign has generated a lot of laughter, McMillan does bring up a good point. Many New Yorkers feel the rent is too high, and they're not laughing when they sign their rent checks.
I had to live at home during the summer because rent's too damn high in my hometown.
Democratic candidate Andrew Cuomo agreed that rent is too high, giving New Yorkers hope for rent reform, regardless of who is elected for governor.
So I hope that maybe that does impact, the future governor, and they realize that, maybe the standard of living is being a little too high. Maybe that's, one of the factors of this recession that we really need to look closer at.
For Sbu Tv, I'm Christy Andrzejewski. The 2010 election date is set for Tuesday, November 2nd. The Mark Hellinger Award ceremony was held on October 15th at the Premier Banquet Center in Olean. Alumni and former winners were on hand. The Mark Hellinger Award at St. Bonaventure was instituted in 1960 through the inspiration of the late famous author Jim Bishop. The award was created to further the cause of American journalism by honoring Hellinger's well-known practice of helping others professionally. This year's recipient is Charlie Specht. During Specht's time at St. Bonaventure, he was editor-in-chief of the Bonaventure and the Communicator. He was reporter for Sbu Tv and completed several internships. The runner-up was Shannon Holforth, who graduated in May with an honors degree in journalism and mass communication and political science. Students had the chance to network with journalism professionals at the Hellinger dinner.
In the first few days after the mine collapsed, the air was so thick with the dust, the miners didn't even know which way was up. But they forged a team instead of turning on one another. 2 key rescue workers reveal untold details. CNN's Carl Penhall reports.
They knocked on death's door and lived to tell the tale. But some secrets may stay buried. Now the miners say they've taken a pact of silence.
I don't think the pact of silence is about that precisely. Probably it's more of a psychological stress and what they were dealing with and some dark ideas that may have crossed.
Dr. Romagnoli was the miners' physical trainer.
They told him of their terror when the mine collapsed.
There was a lot of chaos because the first 3 days there was so much dust going around the place. They had problems orientating themselves, which part is going up, which part is going down.
Until the very moment they boarded the Phoenix rescue capsule, they were in constant fear of being crushed by another cave-in.
They were kind of stressed out about the mine being noisy and weeping and crying, because it's not only the noise, but you start seeing liquid filtration, and that is an indirect sign of a collapse to come.
Alejandro Pino coordinated medical and psychological help for the 33. He says they confided in him. There's nothing sinister. Everybody wants to invent that somebody grabbed somebody by the throat or wanted to shoot themselves or blow themselves up with dynamite. But none of that happened, he says. Romagnoli said rescuers tried to make the miners as comfortable as possible, sending cigarettes and movies. He rejected requests for booze, but he suspects miners' families may have shipped contraband in metallic tubes used to send survival rations.
I mean, these guys are human. These guys weren't ill. They were not in jail.
Even if the miners never explain everything that went on in the mine, Romagnoli is sure teamwork was the key to survival.
So either you work together and everyone's better, or you start fighting. And if you start fighting, a group will win and a group will be segregated, and probably they won't just make it alive.
By sticking together, they pulled off a remarkable feat.
El minero chileno es una clase de persona distinta.
The Chilean miner is a different class of person. They're sure when they go into a mine, but they're never sure they'll come out. But they're always prepared for survival, he says. Hidden secrets or not, it's a survival story that has inspired.
It brings together all humanity in a specific mission, and everyone gave the best of them, and that's the kind of world I like to live in.
Carl Penhall, CNN, Copiapó, Chile.
Coming up next, we'll see how St. Bonaventure got ranked nationally.
Plastic ones last longer.
Pork bellies closed steady due to speculation that demand for bacon-related products.
Read me this one, Daddy.
Okay, honey. The less art kids get, the more it shows. Are yours getting enough? Art. Ask for more. AmericansForTheArts.org.
St. Bonaventure University's students, faculty members, and alumni are often rewarded for good things they've done. Now the university itself is getting some recognition. Sbu TV's Lauren Adams reports.
For the second consecutive year, St. Bonaventure University has been named one of the top 10 in U.S. News & World Report's list of best college values in the North. University officials say St. Bonaventure got the number 9 spot because of the financial aid packages offered to incoming freshmen. According to a press release sent by the university, the average financial aid package for a freshman is more than $22,000.
Able to do that, number one, because we're a Catholic university with a commitment to access, but also because our alumni are very generous to the university, that it helps us to fund those scholarships.
Sinsabaugh said another reason for their high ranking is the fact the university adjusts aid packages to keep up with the times.
And it probably also is an indication, too, of the university's responsiveness to family economic conditions. And certainly in the past couple of years, we've seen an increase in need among some of our families.
Sinsabaugh said the top 10 placement wasn't just because of the price of the education. She said the way the students react to their time here was equally as important in the ranking.
There is something different about our experience because it's not just about the faculty-student relationship, but it's about the student engagement in the learning process.
Other than California, New York has the largest number of colleges and universities in the country. Sinsabaugh hopes this report will put St. Bonaventure on the map.
The student in Western New York and Northwestern Pennsylvania has a lot of great options, and so I hope that this evaluation by U.S. News and World Report will cause those families to at least give us a look and see if we're the kind of experience that they're looking for.
For SBU TV, I'm Lauren Adams.
SBU also placed in the top 17% overall for northern colleges that offer master's degrees.
St. Bonaventure recently saw a rise in students on campus, but they weren't here for classes. In mid-October, St. Bonaventure's Jan Doley School hosted the annual Communications Day. High school students from Western New York came to hear professional journalists talk about their careers. This year's keynote speaker was Mary Lynn Ryan, the chief for CNN's Southeast Bureau. Ryan spoke about the impact of social media on journalism.
How many people here have a Facebook account?
Ryan told audiences that social media isn't just for communicating with friends anymore.
You know that the news networks and the TV stations that are local stations and also newspapers and magazines also use Facebook and Twitter to gather the news and to find out what's going on where you guys live.
The internet, cell phones, digital cameras, and other ways to communicate has quickly led to the creation of a new form of journalism.
The crossing over to the general public becoming reporters has become huge, and it continues to grow every day. So if you want to be a reporter, just get on CNN.com and take some pictures the next time something's cool happening or there's a great weather shot that you see, and submit it to iReport.
Ryan encouraged students to apply for internships at CNN.
With Halloween around the corner, families need to go find pumpkins, and Great Valley has just the place.
Once the leaves start changing color, it is time for a Cattaraugus County staple to open its doors.
Pumpkinville actually started, no one quite knows when, sometime in the late 1960s.
And since the 1960s, people have come to Pumpkinville to, what else? Pick a pumpkin. For some, it is a special experience to share with family.
We went here last year when he was about 3 or 4 months old, so this is the second time, but it's the first time to do it to walk.
Picking the perfect pumpkin isn't the only fun thing to do at Pumpkinville.
Then we have the corn maze, hay rides, pony rides, farm animals, little spook house, all those sorts of things.
After pumpkin picking and enjoying the rides, visitors can take a look at farm crafts while trying some of the foods Pumpkinville has to offer, which include pumpkin pie, pumpkin cookies, and pumpkin donuts, or some homemade ice cream. There's even cider freshly squeezed on an antique mill.
Many schools come here. In the afternoons we'll get some things like birthday parties, scout groups, different after-school activity types things, but it's a great place to visit.
For SBU TV, I'm Erin Lowry.
Pumpkinville is open every day from 9 to 7 through Halloween.
To get into the fall spirit even more, we'll see what all the buzz was about at the Fall Festival in Ellicottville. Steve Minichiello has the story.
Ellicottville, ordinarily a quiet town, attracted thousands of tourists this weekend for its annual Fall Festival.
I would say Fall Fest is, it's, you know, a celebration of the town of Ellicottville.
What started as a small car and antique show grew into one of the biggest events of the year in town.
It's kind of like just like the welcome back to the season, I think. I mean, a lot of people, they're really passionate about the town and the activities that go on here.
The streets provided a variety of activities, including vendors, food, and entertainment for the kids. Fall Fest attracts 10,000 plus visitors each year. Visitors from all over the Northeast have joined us here today to see what Ellicottville has to offer. What made you come to Fall Fest today in Ellicottville?
My one friend Heather, Heather, decided to invite us to come, and it was a beautiful weekend, so here we are visiting friends, and now we're just deciding to come downtown.
When asked about the effect the festival has on local businesses, here's what people had to say.
Some of our reps come and kind of help us, you know, explain the brands to people, and it's really basically our kickoff to the season.
People just, you know, walking through our store, seeing what we're about, you know, it's definitely the highest foot traffic volume for one weekend.
With such a great turnout and nice weather, Ellicottville hopes to welcome back more guests next year. For SBU TV, I'm Steve Minichiello.
The biggest task for Ellicottville is a cleanup after Fall Festival, but by the next day, the small ski village was as rustic as normal.
Coming up in sports, it's back to the practice court for the men's basketball team.
Get up, stand up, jump on my sister, don't give up the fight. We never give up the fight. You got to let them know how. Never give up the fight. Oh, get up, stand up, what we gonna do? Stand up for a ride. Get up, stand up, oh yeah, don't give up the fight.
11 days after the St. Bonaventure women's basketball team began practicing, the men's team took to the hardwood. I went to take a look. Head coach Mark Schmidt's favorite time of the year has come as practice began for his team.
October 15th is nothing like it. You get those goosebumps, and I've done it for a number of years, 25 I think now.
The Bonnies returned one senior, Ogo Adeboye, from a team that advanced to the quarterfinals of the Atlantic 10 tournament last year. And Schmidt is counting on him this season.
He's a hard worker. He's somebody that the kids look up to. And, we've said it over and over, and it's coach talk. But the better the leader, the better the team.
With a young team, Schmidt is looking for returning players to contribute more this season.
They have to take that next step. And they have to go, as I said earlier, they have to go from role guys to go-to guys.
Schmidt knows making shots in practice will translate to making shots in games.
It's everything. You get better in practice. Everybody's fighting for those 8 or 9 spots, and it deals with how well they practice.
When asked to describe how the Bonnies will play this season, Schmidt responded with just one simple word.
Exciting.
All right, so we kick it ahead, we hit the 4-man trailer, and we'll go with
Despite being picked to finish 13th in the Atlantic 10 preseason poll, judging by all the dunking you saw, Schmidt and his team could provide its fans with an exciting year.
For football fans at St. Bonaventure, there's no Division I team, but the school does have a flag football intramural league. Megan Sudore reports.
Students use flag football as an outlet from the pressure of school to meet people, stay active, and most importantly, to compete.
Everybody wants to be, Brett Favre or Tom Brady or, an NFL player, so it's their chance to show what skills they have.
Don't let the name fool you though. Flag football can be just as intense as real football. For many of the players, this is more than a game, it's a competition.
Actually, we've had fights break out before, and what I do is I promptly eject both parties and try to get them as far apart as possible.
Every Monday and Wednesday, the fields behind the Rally Center are pumping with adrenaline. The 12 teams consist of between 7 and 14 players, all competing for the championship title.
All the teams are very serious, especially this year. We all do chalk talks before the games to get ready.
The championship game is planned for Wednesday, October 27th at 4 p.m., and the chance for a team to call themselves the flag football champions all year is something worth cheering about. For Sbu TV, I'm Megan Sudore.
The flag football champions also receive free t-shirts. That's all this week for Sbu TV. I'm Christy Andrzejewski.
And I'm Kevin Clark. For the rest of us here in the Coop Lab, thanks for watching.